The JuRY Daily Show, brought to you as always by PayJuryDaily.com. Oh, friends, welcome back to JuRY Daily. Rate, review, and subscribe if you're listening to the podcast wherever you are listening to that. bit.ly/JuRY Discord if you want to join our little community. Real quick public service announcement. If you are going to be at the big tabletop convention of the year, Gen Con, which stands for Geneva Convention, by the way. Bet you didn't know that. I will be there this weekend, making my triumphant return. 1 year ago, my back was too fucked up for me to go to Gen Con. Had to cancel at the last minute. This year, I'm back in the saddle, baby. We're going to be playing Contender, the game of presidential debate. We have all the expansions available for sale, cheapest they're ever going to be for sale. And quite possibly, Action News, the new game. If y'all back that shit on Kickstarter, you might get emails over the next 48 hours. We will find out. But Escape Room Indie is where I'm going to be. It's an awesome escape room, literally a block from the convention center. Not far at all. Very much walking distance. If you got a big old Andrew Luck-sized arm, you could probably hit it with a football from the convention center. Come on over and have a good time. It's upstairs. Don't be shy. Come say hello. Escape Room Indie. Follow me on social media at Justin R. Young. Everywhere. Snapchat. Instagram, Twitter, wherever you're going to be. Come see me. Enough plugging. I've been mainlining Queer Eye. Yeah, Queer Eye. This is the reboot of the famous 90s show, Queer Eye for the Straight Guy. They now are back and better than ever. They've got a new Fab Five. If you're unfamiliar with what the Fab Five, this is the quintet of gay dudes who come rambling into the life of some unsuspecting person and make them over. They all have their special powers, right? They got the food, grooming, culture, fashion, and the other one. Who's the other one? Fashion. I had them all written here. Oh, design. Design. And that really is the biggest one. So I've been watching a lot of them, and I have thoughts. I've got thoughts here. I've got a lot of thoughts. And let me preface all of this, because what's going to happen is I'm going to get critical in this episode about Queer Eye. I'm going to get critical. But I don't mean this to be critical of any of the dudes specifically. This is not personal. I've been around enough reality television. I've worked inside of reality television enough, not a lot, but enough to understand generally how the sausage is made. And there's probably a million different things that go into why some of these guys demonstrate a little bit more than the other ones. But at the same time, if you've watched as much Queer Eye as I've watched over the past 2 weeks, there are a few things that begin to stand out. A few elements of this show that I tend to believe might be, on some level, an indication of which of the Fab Five are the most essential and which of the Fab Five are indeed the most fraudulent. Oh, I said it. Yes, fraudulent, which is why I am now going to give you the definitive Queer Eye rankings from most essential to the least, or sorry, to most essential to the least essential, or rather, from the least fraudulent to the most fraudulent. So you've never seen the show. I'm going to kind of walk you through the concept of the show here. And by the way, if you have any kind of arguments about this definitive list of fraudulence for the Fab Five, then please, if you're watching on YouTube, leave me a comment. If you're listening to this, send me an email, jurydaily@gmail.com. By far the least fraudulent. I don't know. I really wanted to go into that as... Would it be better or worse if I did this as Rush Limbaugh? Let me ask you guys, would it be, I'll do one of them. I'll do the first one as Rush Limbaugh. Here we go.
Welcome back. Snurdly, I've been watching, and we will get to the trade war right after this. But stay on the line if you've been listening. I've been watching Queer Eye, Snurdly, and I have to say that by far, the most impressive of the Fab Five has to be Bobby. Bobby is, and I say this with no hesitation, Snurdly, the literal backbone of the Fab Five. He is easily the most talented. If everything else, if every other element of a Queer Eye makeover goes wrong, underdelivers, leaves like many conservatives wishing that the rhinos would do right by their principles, looking at you, Willard Mitt Romney, if they are left at the altar unfulfilled, at the very least, Bobby is there. Bobby is your rock, making over your house and giving you, at the very least, a $50,000 budgeted makeover for your home. We'll take your calls on this right after this.
Bobby is the best, though. Bobby is no doubt the best. He's got the best style. He demonstrates the most value. Now, he has the biggest budget to work with, no doubt. Because, again, there definitely has to be about $50,000, and that's on the low end, put into each and every one of these houses and apartments. And it's hilarious. It is so 90s television that they're like, oh, come to the Wendy's real quick. And next thing you know, they show up and the entire fucking house is demoed and renovated. Bobby, number one. Bobby Ichiban. Number two. Again, we're going from least fraudulent to most fraudulent. Jonathan, the grooming guy. Now, not only is he personality-wise kind of the piece that holds the whole show together, he can kind of fit in any segment. He's always a bright, a light, a breath of fresh air whenever he's on the screen. But at the very least, You get a sense that he is always very hands-on and involved with every haircut, and this will become a pattern as we get lower in this list. Jonathan doesn't cut everybody's hair the exact same. Sure, he's got some guiding principles when it comes to beards and fades and where a sideburn should end, but he seems to be somebody that I would imagine would cost several $100s for a haircut. If all of a sudden there was a Groupon upon my phone, and I don't mean to cheapen you, Jonathan, but if there was an opportunity for me to get a haircut by Jonathan from the Queer Eye show, I would happily plunk down several $100s. And that's something that I cannot really say in terms of the tool and trade for everybody else on the show. Number 3, this is the meridian line between Least Fraudulent and Most Fraudulent. We're working our way to Most Fraudulent. Karamo, he's the culture guy. Now, this is, to be fair to Karamo, I don't know how good he is. He seems like a tremendously affable human being, and for all I know, this is every breakthrough that he has with a closeted racist on those shows are indeed real. They are bringing them to tears, and this is a true moment. I'm not here to cast judgment on that. I'm just saying that in the world of reality television, he literally can't fail. Things are produced from the very beginning of the process to the very end of the process to make sure that they tell the exact story they've set out to tell. It takes a lot, and by a lot, I mean it's nearly impossible for a show to completely go off the rails and never come back. So every little bit of drama of like, I don't know, like that's part of the show. So I don't know. In fact, I'm going to give Karamo a incomplete. I don't exactly know how good he is at what he thinks he's doing. All right. Now, it brings me no joy to go to the final 2. But Tan, this hurts me the most because I have gotten the most personally out of watching Tan do his job. He is our fashion guy. But let me guess, Tan. Is it going to be a print button down? Is he going to suggest that he rolls the sleeves up? Because it's kind of every single makeover that he does. With a French tuck. Come on. I understand you're dealing with the same body type and you're not going to try and reinvent the wheel each time, so I don't want to harp on it too much. I'm just saying that you could be replaced by artificial intelligence. But let's be real. If we're going to talk about the Fraud 5, and there is only one person, and we all know it. Go ahead and write it in the chat. Obviously, there's only one left, so it's easy to figure out. But Anthony, my man, Anthony, I understand the point of the show is just to teach the basics of cooking to the Neanderthals. I understand that. You're not trying to go into some super deep shit. But does every single dish that you give to these people gotta be some shit that you looked up after 5 seconds on Google? There's one episode where he says, oh, let's buy all the shit for chili, and then somebody else just makes the chili. He doesn't even show him how to make fucking chili. Oh, wait a minute. You got an avocado? You gonna cut up that avocado, drizzle some vinaigrette on it? Quick question. Is showing a motherfucker that an avocado is a real thing basically like the children's magic of foods? Like, if you've never seen an avocado before, you're like, what the fuck is this? Oh, it doesn't taste like a vegetable or a fruit. What kind of what wizardry is this? I mean, you can't teach a motherfucker some proper cutting techniques? Maybe a wine tip? There's got to be something else that you can show these people that will actually benefit them in the long run, instead of saying, hey, let's go to a restaurant where I don't cook shit, and then we'll come back to the kitchen and I'll cook something so basic that a 5-year-old could do it. Also, one episode he shit on vegan chicken nuggets. It's like, he's in this dude's freezer, and he's pulling out all these bags, and he's like, vegan chicken strips? Vegan chicken nuggets? If you're a vegetarian, eat vegetables. It's like, all right. And listen, I can think of a million reasons why his segments aren't as impressive, probably because they give literally all the budget to fucking Bobby, who's remaking their entire house. I'm just saying, there we go. The definitive least fraudulent to most fraudulent list for Queer Eye. I will say, again, for the record, I love the show. Let's go ahead and get into the mail. Ken, again, jurydaily@gmail.com, or leave a comment. We got a lot of YouTube comments on this mayo ice cream shit yesterday. Ken writes, Justin, I believe you have some sort of mayonnaise fetish where you actually just have difficulty processing it. I have an aversion to chicken pot pie. There's a Game of Thrones episode that graphically illustrates my long-held feelings on chicken in beige gravy hidden behind a crust. However, I'm not prone to excessive rants condemning it. I don't pass judgment on those who enjoy it. I haven't spent multiple podcasts railing against it. When I put my pot pie revolution into words, it's not full of graphic sexual imagery. Justin, I ask this with love and concern. Do you have a wholesale economy vat of extra viscous mayonnaise under your bed? I promise your fans will be more accepting than you think. Ken, I appreciate your concern. Try doing like 10 hours of podcasting a week. You know, sometimes you got to mine the same territory. I talk about, I also, because everybody likes it. I don't know. Whenever I go in a mayonnaise rant, I always get the most feedback for it. But I can understand where you might think that I'm a totally repressed mayo addict. Dave writes, listening about mayo ice cream, big pile of nope. Makes me think about the weird foods I eat. This grosses my wife out, but I'll go into the fridge and slice off a pat of butter and just eat it. No bread, no crackers, just a half-inch slice of cold butter right from the stick. Now, this has to be the real stuff. Margarines or spreads are a no here. Growing up, where we only splurged on butter at Thanksgiving or Christmas, tasting real butter was a treat, and I think that's where it comes from. Sometimes my wife has got all this vegan bouillon in the fridge. It's better than bouillon. I'll just give myself a little. There's a little fingeroo right in there. Don't clip that out and send that to her. Joe writes, the main reason why so many of us are repulsed by mayo is that for our whole lives, sandwiches have been plagued by the overuse of mayonnaise as a sauce instead of sparingly as a spread. Mayo should serve 3 main purposes on a sandwich. First, a moisture barrier for the bread. Because it's mainly oil, it coats bread and repels juices from the filling being absorbed, like when your burger bun falls apart because it's soaked in meat juice. Second, it should serve as a lubricant for the sandwich filling. Lastly, mayo should be so sparing that it's flavor neutral and the fat should spread on your tongue, carrying delicious filling flavors throughout your mouth. Any other fat like butter, oil, dressing could accomplish this task deliciously, but Big Mayo has made itself so cheap that restaurants slather it on like wet sauce on ribs, so we all recoil at a life of sandwiches, ejaculating creamy filling all over the place after biting into a sub. Not me, but you make a really good point. Literally anything that mayo does well, you can do better with oils or butter or other dressing. Mayo is a superfluous, awful condiment that needs to be eliminated. Please enjoy the rest of my TED Talk. Here are just a few of the one-word first reactions about mayo ice cream that we got from YouTube. Intrigued, disgust, ashamed, gross AF, and disgusted. William from YouTube wrote, I actually vomited a little bit when I saw the picture of ice cream with mayo in front of it. Fortunately, I was in the shower, so I wasn't a big deal. William, are you watching this in the shower? If so, that is the most evocative phrasing of how somebody watches this show I have ever heard in my entire life. Watching on YouTube in the shower while vomiting upon yourself. Keith from YouTube wrote, I don't have the raw seething hatred for mayo that you do, but whomever came up with the idea of mayo ice cream should be sent to Gitmo. Tough but fair, Keith. Joseph from YouTube wrote, I was once like you with a seething hatred of mayo, but then I discovered how much better Publix chicken tender subs are with a bit of mayo on the bread. I don't know what Publix does with their mayo, but it made me see the light, except for mayo ice cream. That shit nasty. Joseph, barbecue sauce, you're welcome. And finally, the Hero Movie Podcast wrote, gross. That said, I'm just dumb enough and hate myself enough to try it. That about wraps it up for the JuRY Daily Show. Thank you so much for joining us. You got beef? You got beef on my Fraud 5 rankings? Go ahead and hit me up. JuRyDaily@gmail.com. Reminder, you can support the show at PayJuRyDaily.com. Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat at Justin R. Young. We got a live broadcast live episode tomorrow, maybe Thursday, and then we are live from Gen Con on Friday. Folks, till tomorrow, my name is Justin Robert Young, giving you the hearty reminder to please stop.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.